Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics, and welcome to another edition of my Detroit Sports Show right here on blogtalkradio.com, live from the northern outskirts of McBain, Michigan, with yours truly, your host, Taylor Phillips. This is the last Lions edition of the 2013 NFL season, and if you have opinions or want to join in on the conversation, you can call in by phone at 646-478-4837. Again, that's 646-478-4837. This show will be 30 minutes, as always. Again, you can also post your opinions in comments on my talk show post or on my timeline on my personal Facebook profile, Taylor Phillips, at facebook.com/Phil1DT. On my Detroit sports page, Taylor Phillips's Detroit sports page, at facebook.com/Taylor's sports page, and in Taylor Phillips's Detroit sports group. You can follow me on Twitter and on Tumblr at DT2Phillips with 2 L's. You can also search me on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Google at Taylor Phillips. Same thing on StumbleUpon. I am simulcasting on YouTube via Google. There's also a chat window on blogtalkradio.com for you to comment your opinions. Our guest tonight is Greg Mitchell from Ultimate Sports Talk. You can follow him on Twitter at ULT Sports Talk. Again, that's at ULT Sports Talk. You can find him on Facebook, Greg Mitchell. And his website is ultimatesportstalk.com. You can email him, Greg at ultimatesportstalk.com. Greg, it's great to talk to you tonight. We're talking about the Detroit Lions. Before we begin talking about the Lions, here are the guidelines for all the listeners and guests of tonight's show. Number one, if you have called in, stay on the line so I can get to you for a talk. If you hang up by mistake, not a big deal. Just redial this number, 646-478-4837, and then stay on the line. Number two, keep it very clean at all times. Number three, treat each other with respect. Number four, if you don't know much about Detroit sports, for all the rest of the audience out there, you can still just listen to my show for education. And number five, only I can change the topic because I'm still the host of the show. So, Greg Mitchell, right?
Yeah.
Nice to talk to you. Thanks for the ad on Facebook and follow on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Taylor. Appreciate the opportunity to be on the show.
Yep, so let's go ahead and recap last Sunday's heartbreaking loss in overtime to the New York Giants at Ford Field, 23-20. The Lions' offense, especially Matthew Stafford, just couldn't get much going. Stafford threw 3 interceptions and were forced to a 3-and-out twice, not once, but twice in overtime. Actually just once, but anyway, the Lions generated nothing in overtime. They threw Stafford threw 3 interceptions, and they scored only, I think, 2 touchdowns. They scored a safety and 1 field goal. The Lions had one last chance to win the game on their final drive, and Jim Schwartz decided to go to overtime, to to wind down the clock just to play for overtime, and and most people kind of lost their minds and didn't know what to think of that. They absolutely freaked out, and they were really letting Schwartz hear it with the boo birds and stuff, that like they had a right to, and they should, because Schwartz just made a really bad decision, and Schwartz overreacted by yelling and swearing at the fans, saying, "What the F are you booing at?" Just that shows extreme arrogance right there from Jim Schwartz. That's just not how a head coach even cares for his team. For example, I want to get all your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think Schwartz is dealing with the stress of basically a playoff team now out of contention, which is really a sad place to be, seeing as how this division was up for grabs. I mean, Chicago had its ups earlier in the season, and then with Cutler going out, they had a little bit of shakes here and there. So the division was ready to be taken. Rodgers going down. The Vikings with Peterson not performing at the level, the quarterback controversies there. This was the year for Detroit to make it to the playoffs, and just the way that they've played here in this latter half of the season has just been very, very disappointing. And I think the comments that he has made now to the fans and the outburst, that I think personally is just him succumbing to all of the pressure around the team not performing at the level that they should be, and just basically bombing on the season. They should have been, with all intents and purposes, they should have been in the playoffs, and they're not, and that's kind of a travesty for this team in the city.
Yeah, and Jim Schwartz one day later even lied to all of the Detroit media and the football media as well, saying he didn't even react to the fans. He didn't swear. He didn't yell at them. That we know Schwartz was a liar at that point. And then the next day, and then just hours later, he admitted it. He finally admitted it.
Yep. Well, and I think now, all reports from the four-letter network, ESPN, and other sports media outlets, it seems now that Schwartz's time is basically numbered, and it sounds like the direction that the Lions are going to be taking, the front office is going to be moving forward without Schwartz next season. Now, whether or not that's the direction that they choose to go is another story. I don't know what top name coaches would be interested in coming into Detroit, and that could also take this team and do a similar job that Schwartz has done over the last few years. But I do think that someone at some point needs to sit him down and have a very serious conversation about what he's been doing and how his actions are impacting the team and the franchise and the city. Those are conversations that need to be had, and if at the end of those conversations they think that he's still the guy, then I could totally see him being the head coach in 2014. Otherwise, I think he will definitely be let go at the end of the season, and I guess if his last ditch effort with the Lions is to sign a rugby player to the team, then by all means, I guess he's going out with a bang.
So after that 10-6 season, which led the Lions to the playoffs in 2011, Martin Mayhew decided to sign Jim Schwartz to a 3-year extension worth $18 million, and Jim Schwartz has only 1 year left, which is next year, in his contract. I still think they can go ahead and terminate his contract and let him go. My question to you is, do you think they will do that?
Well, I would say at this point, I mean, $6 million to a franchise in the NFL is really a drop in the bucket anymore. So I think it's not really going to be a matter of cost. It's going to be a matter of what's going to position the team to not only win the division next year, make the playoffs, not only win the division, but make a splash in the playoffs and make a serious run at that Super Bowl championship. I mean, that's where this franchise in the front office is looking to go. They have the talent on the team today. This is a team that should be in the playoffs and should be going deep into the playoffs, but they're just underperforming at the moment. Whether that's coaching, whether that's injury, what have you, there's a lot of reasons why. But at the end of the day, they need to decide if Jim Schwartz is the right guy to take them to that next level. I think from what I'm hearing, most people are saying that, Schwartz has taken them past that first initial, upstart. They're no longer the laughing stock of the league. But he's just not the guy to take them, into the playoffs. And that's where, unfortunately, some great coaches get labeled as just like that they just can't get over that hump. Lovie Smith in Chicago, a great example. He just couldn't take the Bears to the level that they wanted to go. And so now, I think Schwartz is going to be in that position where I could totally see the Detroit Lions letting him go and just, writing off that $6 million and trying to find another coach that will get the job done.
Yeah, I agree. The injuries, the Lions have had their injuries a lot. But that's not really that much. Sorry, I had someone else comment on my reply to one of my comments on Detroit News' post here. But anyway, that's my opinions on most of the coaching. Yeah, let's move on here. If Jim Schwartz gets fired, who would be the best recipient? Who would be the best guy to step up and be a better head coach for the Lions from next season on out?
Wow, that's a great question. Of course, I think, personally, in case anyone's not aware of my background, I'm from down near Cincinnati. So I'm very familiar with the Cincinnati Bengals and all of the efforts that they make down here to take things to the next level. And it sounds like, they've locked up playoffs. And, one of the reason why I say that is because every year, everyone is talking about whether or not pieces of their coaching staff are going to be pulled away. And, part of that is that, one of the coordinators, whether that be Jay Gruden, who is John Gruden's brother, the offensive coordinator for the Bengals, he's always up for as a top coaching candidate in the league. But the other one that I really am a big fan of is Mike Zimmer. He's a defensive coordinator, has a lot of years in the league, and is very famous for taking a defense and making it basically a powerhouse. He'll handle that side of the ball, and he just needs somebody on offense to do the rest. I think he would be an ideal candidate, and I know that offense is going to sell the tickets. It's going to put the butts in seats. But Mike Zimmer, with the talent that Detroit has, on the defensive side of the ball with Sue and some of those other guys up front, a good front seven. I think he's going to be able to take that defense and make them a powerhouse, even more than they are today. And as long as he can get somebody in who can make use of all the wonderful tools that they have on offense, with Megatron and with Stafford, all the different tools that they've got, I think he would be an ideal candidate for that role.
Okay, I think I would agree. Lots of very good options for the Lions franchise to choose from. So, moving on, Lions and Vikings, just for the heck of it, both those teams are, as of now, are eliminated from playoff contention. Lions still have injuries to deal with, including Brandon Pettigrew and Doran Dickerson being placed on IR, Matt Feldman being signed from the practice squad. They also signed that rugby player. Let me look him up. This is the fastest rugby player in the world. Carlin Isles will be getting a chance to show what he can do on the field. He's been signed to the practice squad as of right now. And have you seen anything in this Carlin Isles guy?
I haven't. The only thing that is the big upside for him is that he's on record of running a 4.22.40, which anyone who follows football and the combines and all of that, a 4.22 is extremely fast. So that's what Schwartz essentially came out and said, I'm looking for athletes. And that's what he's interested in doing, is he wants to bring in people, and I think he's trying to show that even though the team has kind of faltered towards the end of the year, that he's not given up yet. The problem with it is that ultimately I think this is all for show. I think it's all for naught. He's going to come in. He's going to be nothing more than just a practice squad player. I would be extremely surprised if he suited up on game day to take any real playing time from a roster of players that have been with the squad since training camp. That would be a complete disservice to the organization and to the players that have been committed to this franchise over the whole year. I think it's just a publicity stunt. It's a way to try to divert the attention away from his antics with the fans. But other than that, I don't see him making any splashes in the NFL anytime soon.
Yeah, I know that's going to take a while, but that reminds me of the preseason signing of the preseason signing of Havard Kickalicious Rugland. I think the Lions need him back. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I would say that that they still need someone of that caliber of talent in the organization. Now, whether he is the guy or not, that's to be seen. But I do agree with you. I think he's an incredible talent, and I don't think we've seen the best out of him yet. And I think he definitely has an upside that the Lions could totally take advantage of.
Yeah, I definitely agree. One more thing on the Lions I have to touch on. Calvin Johnson and Ndamukong Suh just reported tonight they make it to the 2014 Pro Bowl. Matthew Stafford, Reggie Bush, and Nick Fairley are named their alternates. Your thoughts on all that?
Well, I think that's fair. Over the entire year, I would say if Reggie Bush would have stayed healthy and towards the end of the season would have been able to produce at the level that he did early on in the year, I think he would have been a lock-in as a Pro Bowl player. But to be an alternate is still a phenomenal accomplishment. especially seeing as how he's battled with injury the last month of the season, or longer than that, depending on the reports that you hear. But I would definitely say that Megatron and Sue are beyond doubt the two best players, perhaps in the National Football League altogether. So they should have definitely made it in. I don't see any problems with that. I think they got it right.
Well, Greg Mitchell, it was great to talk to you tonight. I thank you very much for that. Greg Mitchell is on Facebook personally, Greg Mitchell. You can follow him on Twitter at ULT Sports Talk. His website is ultimatesportstalk.com, and you can email him, Greg at ultimatesportstalk.com. Thank you very much, Greg. I'll talk to you tomorrow night. I have a Red Wings edition coming up tomorrow night at 11. Are you up for it?
Excellent. Yes, sir. I'll tune in.
Oh, cool. All right.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yep, same phone number if you want to help me out.
Okay. All right. Will do.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to other Detroit sports talk. Other Detroit sports scores. The only Detroit sports. Detroit Pro Sports game going on earlier tonight. The Pistons getting shelled by the now 9-20 Orlando Magic, 109-92 in Orlando. The Pistons trailed by as many as 22, and they almost never had the lead. I think their shortest lead was 4-2, I think. I couldn't exactly recall, but the Magic just kept the Pistons from getting close most of the game. They trailed like 97% of the Magic led like 97% of the game. The Pistons just could not hit their shots, and their defense was just standing around, in my opinion. The Great Lakes Invitational was going on to start off the Hockey Town Winter Festival at Comerica Park in Detroit, home of Major League Baseball's Detroit Tigers. Our beloved Detroit Tigers, that is. Michigan Tech beating Michigan State 3-2 in a 2-1 5-round shootout. Western Michigan beating Michigan in overtime 3-2 in semifinal number 2. Josh Pitt scoring the game winner on the power play with 18.3 seconds left in the extra frame. So the Wolverines and Spartans will play in the consolation game at 3:30 on Fox Sports Detroit, and the Huskies will defend their GLI championship against the Broncos, the Michigan Tech Huskies and the Western Michigan Broncos, on Fox Sports Detroit Plus. Something like that. Other upcoming Detroit sports games: Eastern Michigan basketball visiting Duke at 2. Michigan State basketball hosting the University of New Orleans at 4:15. Michigan basketball hosting Holy Cross at 6:30. Both of those games, Michigan State and Michigan, can be seen on BTN, the Big Ten Network. The Red Wings and the Red Wings are back in action, being well rested, traveling back down to Florida to take on the Panthers in a rematch. They're looking for revenge. That game drops its puck at 7. That's on the main feed of Fox Sports Detroit. While the Pistons and Wizards The Pistons travel back up to Washington, D.C. to take on the Wizards, same time at 7. And then finally we have the Michigan Wolverines football team taking on the Kansas State Wildcats in the purple and silver in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl at 10:15 on ESPN. And then on Sunday, the Lions take on your Lions, our Lions, wrap up their 2013 NFL season at Minnesota against the Vikings, Sunday at 1 on your local Fox affiliate. That's about all the time and ground I have to cover for tonight's Lions edition of Taylor's Detroit Sports Show. I thank Greg Mitchell for chatting with me tonight. Coming up tomorrow night at 11, we have the Red Wings edition. That is which is about an hour or so after the Red Wings claw with the Florida Panthers down in Florida. Until then, this is Taylor Phillips signing off by saying TTFN, ta-ta for now.